A viewer has requested a video about hand-making pasta. Now I normally, due to time concerns, make mine with a food processor and a pasta press. One of those little hand crank things like in the other video that you've seen just of rolling out pasta. But it's really quite simple and easy to hand make pasta and hand roll it out. So let's do just that. To make pasta, the recipe is really quite easy. We need 3 cups of flour, and we Americans are awfully fond of these tin measuring cups, but if you don't have a measuring cup, it weighs about 400 grams. And if you don't have access to a scale, that's about the same weight as a tin of beans. You simply make a well in the center of the flour, 3 cups of flour, to which you will add 4 large eggs. You can do this right on the surface of your countertop or work table, using the edge of the flour to form a well, like a volcano. Now in this well, you'll want to mix up the eggs with your fingers, or you could use a fork if you are opposed to using your fingers. Then gradually draw the flour in from outside, mixing as you go. You can use your other hand to firm up the sides of the well and incorporate the flour into the egg mixture. It should get stiffer as you go, until gradually you can start sweeping out and just start adding the flour. It's a bit messy, and I haven't done this for a while, so it looks a bit gooey and gloppy, but trust me, it'll make a workable dough. When the flour starts to be incorporated, just start working it . Keep working the dough until it starts to form a smooth and moist ball. Use it to pick up all the flour on the countertop around, and then just knead it for a few minutes until it comes together and forms a relatively compact ball. Just like that. It can be a little dry and crumbly. What we're going to do now is let this sit for 20 minutes, but we're going to wrap it in some cling film or a plastic bag or some sort of plastic so that it doesn't dry out. We'll come back to it in 20 minutes. Okay, the dough should be ready. Our 20 minutes has elapsed. Should be nice and pliable. The time we've allowed it to rest has let the gluten relax that we developed in forming the dough, and it's also allowed the flour to hydrate with the Our next task is to roll this lump of dough out. So we're going to flour our work surface, and the best flour for this is rice flour. Don't quite know why it works so well, it just does. So you can use liberal amount of rice flour, both sides of the dough, and I'm just going to start rolling it out. I find a straight rolling pin like this works the best. If this piece of dough is too much to handle, it's certainly okay to cut it in half. Set one half aside and wrap it up. And then we're just going to continue to roll this dough out. Turn it over occasionally. You might have to let it relax, rest a minute or so to let the gluten relax. Keep turning it over from time to time. And around. Help make sure it doesn't stick. If you need to, you can reapply more flour. And really try and roll it out as absolutely thin as possible. So you keep working it until you get as thin as you possibly can. Remember, this is only half the dough, so you still have to do another half, and it should really be thin enough so that you can see newsprint or a magazine cover through the dough. Not that you can read it, but you can see it. And then we'll want to cut this up, and I'll show you how to make a couple shapes of pasta. So dust it with flour a little bit. Keep it from sticking, and you can use a knife or a pizza cutter or a pasta wheel, anything you have. Just fold up the dough like that, and then just start cutting it. You can cut it thin for fettuccine. You can cut it wide for pappardelle, or even wider for lasagna. When the pasta's cut, you want to take the strips and fluff them up. If you're going to cook them right away, you can mound them up with a little extra flour on a tray, or if you're going to let it dry, just pull them out and then hang them over something to air dry. Remember, when you're cutting the pasta, it will swell up as it cooks. So cut them thinner than you actually think the size of the pasta is that you want it to be. Should just fall apart quite easily if you've used enough flour on the surface to keep it from sticking. Now you can either make coils of it like this to dry out for storage, or amass it on a tray and toss it with a little bit of flour occasionally until you're ready to cook it. This amount of pasta should serve 6 people quite nicely. Well, that's all for now. I hope you'll try having a go at making pasta from scratch like this without any tools or mechanization yourself. And once again, I'm the Podchef saying keep on cooking. Bye for now.